Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Bold Real Estate Investing. I'm your co-host, Chris Angel, here with Bill Dean, your host. Bill, episode 2.
We made it.
We made it. Yes. Today we're talking about how to finding your very first property. And actually, we're going to talk about your very first property, but I think it's good for people to hear what they can learn from your experience as they try to find their first property. So where do you want to start? Tell me about your first property.
Well, I was in the same boat as many other people where, all right, I knew real estate investing was for me. I also needed a place to live and I didn't want to burn money in renting. Mm-hmm. So I knew I had needed at least a duplex, if not triplex or fourplex. But duplex is the safest, makes the most sense, and it's only one tenant.
Right.
So I had narrowed down that, okay, I'm looking for a duplex to help. Plus I was a commission-only salesman at the time. Mm-hmm. So my income was... 1 month would be great. The next month I'd be ramen noodles.
Right. Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I need that to stabilize my income too. So once I knew what house I wanted, then I was talking to the bank and saying, hey, what can I do? And this is this is right after the crash and before some of the newer legislation went in.
Okay.
Back then you could still get loans for pretty low down, didn't have to go FHA, all that fun stuff.
Right. All those unique mortgage products or those unique lending.
Yeah.
Options.
I mean, it was the year after I bought this house that actually all the regulations came in. Wow. But so I knew it was a duplex. I knew from the funds that I had for down payment had to be under about $180,000. And at that time, the average market in Bismarck, North Dakota was probably in the 160s.
So pause for just a sec. So how did you know, one, that it was a duplex? Because of what you read, or did somebody tell you duplex, or you just were smart that way?
I just looked at, I guess it was kind of a mix. Yeah. One, duplex is just the next thing above a single family, because I didn't want to have roommates in the house with me sharing my kitchen and bathroom.
So you had personal preferences was part of it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Because I mean, in all honesty, you could start real estate investing by buying a single family and just having roommates.
Right. Yeah. Good point.
Ultimate college solution. Yeah. But I wanted something for a little more long-term because then I'd have 2 rent incomes when I moved out.
Okay. Yeah. Good.
And
That's
then
smart.
Duplexes typically are cheaper than 3 or 4plexes because they kick out more money.
Right.
So it's just kind of a process of elimination. And
okay. And then how did you know what you could afford? Had you talked to the bank yet, or you hadn't?
So what I had done actually is I started interviewing different banks. Mm-hmm. And something we'll talk about later about just kind of building a good team. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to find out which banks were investors friendly.
Okay.
Because you're not going to go to Wells Fargo and negotiate.
Right. Right.
They're just too big. And so I started interviewing credit unions who have some deals even now that are better than what a bank can do. But credit unions tend to be risk averse. So you're not going to get screaming good deals, but they have a few things that are awesome. Even
though you were self-employed, or you were on 100% commission.
Yep.
They had programs that would work for you?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
So eventually what happened is I interviewed probably 7-8 different banks, talking to them, trying to figure out, hey, first of all, I need a loan for me now, and I'm moving into it. So that means I qualify for all FHA, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, all of the traditional loans that anyone who's trying to buy a house could get.
Right.
Those loans let you buy up to 4 units in one of those loans.
Wow. Okay.
So a lot of people don't know that, but yeah, you could buy a 4plex with your first time home buyers.
Wow.
Type of properties. So I ended up actually using an FHA to buy my first duplex.
Okay.
So FHA is just a federally backed loan. Mm-hmm. So I had to pay mortgage insurance, which is an extra premium on my mortgage. Mm-hmm. But at that time, I only had to put 3% down. And to be honest, I had about $8,000 in the bank. So I definitely had to stay under $200,000.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Right.
So once I had that pre-approval, then I started looking. And that was, so instead of Craigslist in the Bismarck-Mandan area, we have Bizman Online. So
Yeah.
Bismarck and his sister city is Mandan, so it's called
Okay.
Bisman for short.
Got it.
This Bisman Online is like our Craigslist. Although I
Okay.
looked at Craigslist, it's not as useful.
Okay.
So I started looking at the for sale by owners because I wanted to see if I could find a deal.
Yeah.
Newspapers, because the older generation still use newspapers to put their
Right.
stuff out there.
Smart.
And started looking at the free listing websites like Trulia, Zillow, Realtor.com.
Mhm.
And just, you can actually set those up to send you automatic listings.
Oh, nice.
So I just said, hey, if it's a for sale by owner, if it's a duplex, let me know. And it would just come straight to my inbox. And that was probably March of that year.
Mm-hmm.
And I looked at a few. I had an agent I was working with, an older gentleman. It was absolutely miserable.
Yeah.
He definitely knew about investing, but I think he was closer to retirement than.
So he just wasn't available, or he didn't care, or what was the deal?
Sort of. I mean, how do I put it? I was looking at like the bottom run of houses,
Yeah.
especially the rental world, and his speedboat sat in his driveway on the river.
Yeah.
And it was like, so do you want to be on your $250,000 boat or showing me $80,000 houses today?
Yeah. Yeah. That's tough. I get that.
So we looked at 14, 20 some houses together, all over, from water coming in the basement to bats in the attic. We had just anything you can imagine. Some old homes, 100-year-old homes that needed the entire electrical panel done, that the boiler system was still from like 1918.
What?
Wow. Just a lot of places that needed a lot of love or fixing.
Yeah. Keep going. This is good.
So like I wasn't in the flipping business. Of course, I was working as a remodeler, as a salesman. So I had the connections, but I didn't want to buy a house to flip it, because in my book, that's not really investing. That's just another job.
Right.
Paying you. So just kept looking, and you get to that burnout. Like 90 days seems like a magic number, but really by July, I was just like,
I was going to ask, like, I think by that time I'd be totally disheartened. Like, what I want doesn't exist. And I think probably, listen, I would imagine a lot of people who are first-time investors have gotten their feet wet with stuff, but they just didn't stick it out long enough to see like maybe they didn't stick it out believing that what they wanted was actually available. So I'm curious to hear, like, could you actually find that?
Well, I'll let you. So at the same time in North Dakota, we had our oil boom going on. So all of a sudden, oh, by the way, there's enough oil to like provide enough oil for the United States hiding in North Dakota. So we had 15,000 people move into cities of 2,500. And then the river flooded in Minot, which is 100 miles north, and it wiped out a third of the houses.
Whoa.
Probably only a fifth. So now I'm competing with oil fields,
right,
which are paying 35, 40, 50, 60, 120 bucks an hour. Retirees who can't afford to live in the oil fields are starting to move this way, and then the flood. So if I found a deal, it'd be like, oh, hey, yeah, I'm selling my rental. I'd call them up. I'd go view it. It's a 2-bedroom, 1-bath little house that has no updates. Yeah, I think it's worth $180,000.
Right. And you're trying to buy a duplex for under 180.
Yeah.
It's
like I can get the house, but I can't even make money. I'd lose money as a rental. So yeah, I guess a little disheartened, and I saw a lot of houses that were cheap, but they were cheap because they were so bad.
Right.
So like,
that's the thing though. I think like sometimes you think like, gosh, I'm trying to get in on the ground floor of something affordable that will cash flow. And I guess, I think if it were me, I would think all I get to have are the things that are bad.
Yeah.
No,
well, it was kind of, I mean, I've learned through time that, and one of the best things I can pick up. So I watch Rich Dad Radio, or listen to Rich Dad Radio.
Okay.
And he said it more than once, and I've heard other guys say it, the best day of your life is every day. So they're just trying to say, like, don't get hung up
Yeah.
If you don't find one today, and if you do see one, but it doesn't make sense, it's okay. Just let it go. There'll be more.
Got it. Okay.
Because there were deals that were like, I'd sit down. That's when I really got my math down. Because it's a duplex. They have it rented out for $600, upstairs and downstairs units, and they want $120,000. Start taking off the expenses, the taxes, the insurance, and it's like, okay, I'd only lose $300 a month on this house.
Right.
Okay, you're under rented at the moment. So I did a lot of math though, from what the realtor sent me to what I was finding on my own. But yeah, you get to that point of just burnout, like, oh my God, I'm never going to find anything.
I know.
But you can't stop. You just have to keep going, keep learning, reading. That's what's nice about it is when you can read other people's stories. Like during that time, I was still plowing through the Rich Dad Poor Dad books and more online content. And there's like Bigger Pockets, which is can be a free website with blog and everything. And you hear other people's stories and it's like, okay, I'm not in Manhattan. I'm not in like San Francisco where it's like $3,700 for a 1-bedroom apartment. Like,
right.
Ooh, so just keeping that perspective, like I still have it pretty good out here. And so what actually happened was after probably well over 20 falling apart that just weren't going to make the deal, I was working a home show. So
wait, 20 offers?
No, I didn't make any offers because the numbers were so bad. They
Got it. 20 properties you had like looked at, the numbers didn't work.
So just imagine like at least 2 to 3 hours invested per property for doing the paper, like just looking at it, breaking it down.
Right.
So I'm probably 100, 200 hours into looking, driving around, one day I think we hit like 5-6 properties in a row, back to back to back. And that's a lot of work.
Yeah.
So just my coworkers were fun because they knew what I was trying to do, and they it's not for everyone. The whole like, you want to live with someone when you can afford to have your own house. Like, yes, I do, but not with them. I want them near me and paying me.
Right.
And finally I'm at this home show. It's got to be August. So 5 months after I read Rich Dad Poor Dad and started just getting everything going. I'm standing at my booth for the remodeling company, and just an older gentleman walks up and doesn't even really like start a conversation. He just starts talking to me. When I was your age, I wish I'd have bought more houses. That's a good thing to do. All right, I agree. He's like, now that I'm up in age and I can't work anymore, it's pretty nice having these, but I'm just too old to keep them. So I'm trying to sell probably 1 or 2 of mine right now.
Wow.
And my coworker just bursts out laughing because he knows I've been looking, and hear this, I think he was probably 74, 76 at the time, guy just walks up out of the blue and starts telling me why I should invest in real estate. It's like, why, yes.
Wow.
I absolutely am interested. So we actually went, and he showed me a couple of his houses. One was 2 houses from his. He actually still lives in a duplex, but his other duplex was remodeled, up to date. And that one, he actually wanted in the 170s for. And it was like, ooh, rent isn't quite there.
Right.
But he just wasn't ready to part with that one. And then he showed me the one that was far away, a whopping 5 blocks away. And it was like lime green, faded lime green. Every single window was different. So we're talking about storm windows that were like actually wood storm windows.
Whoa.
That have just like the plaster and putty to hold the glass in place. They don't even have like seals or anything.
Wow.
Carpet, 30, 40 years old, cigarette burns, paneling throughout.
I'm getting a good picture right now. I can smell it right now.
Oh yeah, and dark. It's the craziest thing with the place was that it had east and west facing windows.
Yeah.
And such established trees that there's like no natural light. So pretty much it's like this glass cave that doesn't keep heat or cold.
Yikes.
But the thing about it was he's willing to sell it at $108,000.
Oh, wow.
And
Okay.
it was like, okay, well, let's see here. It doesn't have showers. And I am a modern person, so I need at least a shower. So
What, it only had bathtubs?
just tubs.
Oh my gosh. Wow. Okay.
Um, it's like, okay, well, it stinks. It's gnarly. It's ugly.
It's perfect. It's
I mean, really, it's affordable. And can I live with this?
yeah.
Yes. So
Wow.
it wasn't pretty, it wasn't fantastic, but it was affordable, and it actually had better space than a lot for that price range.
Okay.
So I ended up, wasn't listed. So
Yeah. Good.
one thing is working with that realtor, never found the house, found this guy out of the blue.
Right.
So we ended up we went through a local title company instead of going through a bank. So normally if you pay a real estate agent, you're going to pay 4 to 7, 8%, 9%.
Sure. Right.
Well, instead of paying those fees, I think I paid $1,300 for title fees and all of that
Right.
to get all the paperwork, title done. And then what he was doing.
How did you do your financing? Is that where are you going there?
Mhm.
It's your okay.
So that was kind of a interesting thing, because it's like, all right, well, I just saved a lot of money on that part. But the bank had no problem with it. I just, hey, this is the house, this is the price, am I approved? So they looked at it, and it was definitely affordable. They can't
Yeah.
take any of the rental income though. So for me, what they had to do is I was commission only at this point for 18 months. And normally they say 2 years of commission. So they took what I had earned in 18 months and divided it by 24 months.
Okay.
And I still had enough to qualify, even though I technically had 6 months of zero.
Right. Right.
So definitely flex times on financing at that point. So sent
But that was
stuff.
probably the benefit of interviewing as many credit unions or banks as you did, because you found somebody who was willing to invest in you and work with you, right?
Yeah, I actually started with a brand new bank in town. And they were just trying to do whatever they could to get loans. So
right, I bet, yeah,
it was in my favor. They got creative, and normally instead of following the 2-year rule, like a Wells Fargo or some of the Chase, okay, we'll just divide it, whatever you have, and we'll see how it works.
Wow.
And it worked. So had the approval process, and the other part of buying a rental is that they're tenants. And so they knew they were going to move out, and he actually had a spot for the one who'd been renting for like 9 years.
Wow.
But he being a cranky old guy, the tenants may have destroyed some things out of spite. So there were like throwing star holes in the trim.
Wow.
And just different things. And when they realized that it was a young guy who wasn't an old geezer coming in and buying it, they're like, oh, we felt bad. So they left me a TV, couch, a chair, table.
Wow.
So it was kind of weird. I mean, but for a 2 years out of college kid, like, I can't complain.
How did you come up with the money to not have old carpet and put your showers in and all that?
So I may have kept the old carpet.
Ooh.
Downstairs.
You brave soul.
I shampooed, I poor-boyed it. I shampooed those carpets.
Oh, man.
2-3 times in the unit I was living in.
Yeah.
And the nice thing is the gentleman I bought the house from actually told me, he's like, the first thing I would do is get the unit you're not going to live in fixed up, because that's your moneymaker.
Right.
So,
yeah.
And that is totally true. Like, I'll live in whatever because I'm not making money off myself. I'm losing money. But getting that downstairs, in this case, unit fixed up was definitely more key. So I did put a shower in right away. So because I only needed like, I put less than $8,000 down. It only cost me about $750 to put in a shower. Oh, wow. Because I was able to use one of the contractors who did our interior work with my remodeling company. And then I went to Menards. I don't know if you have Menards where you live.
I know about Menards. We don't have it here, but I know about Menards.
So it's like a Lowe's, but even cheaper.
Yeah.
Or a Home Depot. But went there, picked up my tub, picked up my shower surround, picked up my faucetry, picked out the flooring, which is actually left over from a different project that we just had in the office. So I just stole it.
Wow.
And hey, 2 days of work, I paid him I think $500 to put in a new tub. To since it was a tub only, the wall ended right above the tub.
Okay.
So we actually put that up to the ceiling, sheetrocked it, ran the shower head up in it.
Yeah.
But I
Wow.
mean, I spent under $1,250, and I had
And that was
working
left over.
shower. Yeah,
That was left over from what you had saved for your down payment,
Yep,
but didn't need to use for your full down payment, right?
exactly.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that worked out in my favor.
It's big time. I mean, talk about the importance of a team. I know in future episodes we'll get into, establishing your team, but wow, I mean, that's just a great example of the power of your team.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Oh yeah, because it took that lender,
Mm-hmm.
which even now I think I only know one lender who will do under 2 years financing for any commission person.
Right. Yeah. That's tough.
And then having that contractor in the back pocket,
Mhm.
also very nice. But it's
Mm.
also, I mean, just that willingness to, this isn't perfect, but I knew that the
Yeah.
nicer it is, the more I'm going to pay for it. And I didn't have the funds, so I'm just gonna
Right.
put up with what I can. But I saw the potential of what it was.
Right.
Because when I first moved into the place, I didn't even rent out my basement.
Wow.
At first, I was just enjoying the fact that finally, for the first time in my life, had a house.
Yeah.
But
Wow.
that didn't last very long because all of a sudden friends know you have a vacant unit, and a couple knocks on the door later, and I had a renter.
Really? So your renters came through your sphere of influence?
Yeah, actually, it was friends of mine just knocked and, hey man, we know you have this place, and we're in essence homeless. There, it's like, sweet, girlfriend's pregnant, like all the red flags. Do not ever do this. Because they don't have a house, don't have stable income, and you know them,
Yeah.
probably not going to work out.
But you did do that.
I did.
Okay. The truth comes out. I love it.
Yeah. So
How long did they stay a tenant?
probably 7 to 9 months.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was below rent rate. And
Right.
I paid all utilities.
Wow.
And it's to the point where they were so like, kind of, they knew I was letting them off easy.
Yeah.
The furnace went out in winter. So we're talking like 20 below. The furnace went out. And I was like, what the heck is going on? My furnace is just going crazy up here. And I was actually at Dart League with my brother, who was also their friend. And he's like, so you fixed the furnace yet? What do you mean? He's like, oh yeah, my friend just said that, their furnace has been out for a week and blah, blah, blah. They've been using space heaters. And it's like,
What?
oh my God. Like,
Wow.
my pipes could freeze. They could get monoxide poisoning. Like, oh
Right.
my God. So,
Wow.
needless to say, I had to get that fixed. But
Wow, that's some on the job learning right there.
oh yeah. So there was, I mean,
Wow.
the perk is they were trying to save me money, but the downside is like,
Right.
you have to fix that stuff. There's maintenance.
I think you should do like a book or a small booklet on like everything Bill did wrong. And let us not only read it to learn, but read to like feel not, like we have to be perfect.
Oh yeah, no, that's the thing. There's no real perfect. I mean, perfect's great in books, but reality is learning from your mistakes and just not making big ones.
Well, maybe I to bring this home for like, I don't know if I'm your average, I don't know if I'm like your target or ideal listener, but I think for me, I like the idea of investing, and I read Rich Dad Poor Dad. I read all those books in the series, super inspired by what investing could be. And when push comes to shove and I realize there's a lot of hard work behind it, I'm like, I don't know if I have the guts to push through all that. And I think that might be a good reality check for some people. Like some people might be getting into it thinking, oh yeah, like investing's awesome. No big deal. But there's a lot of like courage and guts and tenacity to see it through, I think.
Yeah. Well, I think I was lucky that I was in the remodeling industry or trade, because I can't tell you how many projects would open up a wall and be like, oh, we can't do this. Like what we designed and negotiated and fought hours on prices for.
Wow.
Right out the window.
Right. Right.
So, and it's no different in real estate investing. Every house hides a multitude of sins.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's smart. Yeah. It's good.
So you always have to prepare. Like, even when I do my numbers, there's always the like, oh, by the book, the rent is this and taxes, insurance, and other fees are this. But I always build in unknown.
Mm.
Always a part of my numbers because,
Hmm.
and you can never take someone else's numbers because
Yeah.
there's fees that you'll have that they might not, and things always change. So
Hmm.
I guess what I was going with that is, yes, you do have to be willing to just take on the unknown and be creative with it. But like for me, I was fine with being on the front end of the whole investing situation.
Yeah.
But someone like you who likes the idea and understands the power it can have in the whole growth or wealth growth and accumulation,
Yeah.
you can find people like me to
Hmm.
team up with,
Hmm.
where you're never going to have to walk into a house with cobwebs and cigarette smoke and
Yeah.
whatever. You just say, hey, this is what I'm happy with getting back on my money. Okay.
So I'm not necessarily the bank in this example, but I might be the down payment. I might come in with some cash or some capital for the project, even
Yep.
maybe the upgrades,
Yep.
but I'm not the bank. I'm not like, here's $108,000. I'm just
No,
like, here's your down payment.
No. And that's the
interesting.
nice thing. Yeah. Because a lot of people think like, oh, if you want to invest, I have to like go pay cash for a $200,000 duplex.
Right.
Not necessarily. There are a ton of ways around that. And sometimes when you have the people who are handy,
Yeah.
some of the best contractors I've worked with are not good with numbers, which is kind of a weird thing to say.
Right.
So to have someone there who can like forecast and figure out this is our budget for this project and for that, even just having that to help other people is powerful. Because for
I
them,
think that could be a whole episode that we cover, like just creative partnerships in terms of not even, this isn't just like your team, but this is like, how do I get cash? It's like, something around that, because I think that's an important conversation, especially beginners or people starting out.
Well, the thing is, when you, like I talked about going to real estate investment clubs or cash flow clubs, there are people there who have money, they have interest, they don't have time, or they just don't have the know-how, but they know enough, they know how it works. So you can team up with people. There's a lot of groups, even in my town, where there's 4 or 5 guys who work together to buy properties, flip them, hold them as rentals, and or sell them.
Right.
And they all just bring a little bit something to the table, and that way no one's shelling out $40,000, but maybe $4 or $5 grand a piece. And those that are handy do the work, and those that aren't just, passive invest.
Yeah, that's great. I love that. Well, if we had to wrap this sort of down into like, I'm sure like there's so many more stories and lessons inside of just your first property. Like there's so many rabbit holes I wanted to go down in what you've shared so far. But if people were listening to this, like, okay, Bill, like I get this first property could be kind of scary. Like, how would you help them compartmentalize or focus in on what to do to get started in finding their first property?
Well, I would say still find a good realtor.
Okay.
Because a realtor who's already been there, and a lot of them already have investors who, anytime they see a good property pass to them, they should be able to help you along as far as,
right.
Like in my office, we actually have printed off worksheets at the real estate company I work for that are ROI calculators, so that you can just hand it or fill it out with a client.
Yeah.
And you can just see the numbers.
Yeah.
So I would say, like, find a good realtor.
And you're a realtor.
Yes, I am a realtor.
For the record, if you're listening to this, Bill is a realtor, and he could actually help you with this, since this is something he does. But keep going.
Secondly, is you could find other investors in your area, because there are some things that you could help them do. I'll try to hit this quick, but there's a whole field of real estate investing called bird dogging, where you just get paid money to find investors' properties. They'll pay you $5,000-$10,000 depending on what you find them.
Wow.
And that's it. You just find the deals.
Wow.
So you just have to start looking, actually, like get that Zillow stuff going, start learning the math. And when you actually find the house, typically the seller has an idea of what to do. If not your bank, you can just walk into your bank, say, I want to buy this house, and they'll start getting it going for you.
Wow.
So there's a lot of options. It's just actually looking and then just getting familiar with that math. And then when you find the deal, ask for it, and the rest will fall into place.
Yeah. I really like the idea of, I know that repetition and muscle memory is so helpful in feeling not only prepared, but like confident in your decisions. Like I could just see doing the math, like setting up the notifications for listings to come to you or houses to come to you, and doing math over and over and over again, just getting comfortable with like, this is a good deal or not a good deal, will be so helpful before you ever pull the trigger.
Oh yeah. And there's a couple quick rule of thumbs, but we'll save those for
good tease. I like it. Nice.
For the next times, because it just helps speed things up. And
right. Okay, good.
So
I love it. Awesome. Bill, I think this is a good place to start, like, or for them to start and for us to stop the episode. But if you guys are looking for more help, you want perspective, you want advice, I would say reach out to Bill. Bill, if people want to reach out to you, what's the best place? Where can they find you?
Yeah. So the easiest place is just my website, Bill Dean Homes. So my name, BillDeanHomes.com.
Perfect.
And then I have a contact page on there. If you want me to help you just look at properties or kind of this is where I'm at, help, feel free to reach out through that, and I'll email you back, and we'll try to help you out, because it's a fun field, lots of possibilities, and sometimes it's just nice having a little help.
I think it's like seriously that, and I've always been afraid to go talk to a realtor because I don't know if they're good at the investing side, and if they're not good at the investing side, then I don't really want their help trying to find an investment because it's a different game. So the fact that you're not only experienced in that, but that you're willing to like give some feedback and some help and perspective in getting that started seems like that just would be a huge relief to me as a potential investor. So,
well, I will say that I usually tell people, like, I'm a real estate investor first and foremost, but I also sell houses.
Right. Yeah.
Because that's my passion. That's the fun stuff, I think, is just finding those good deals and getting ahead.
I love it. So good. Bill, thanks for your time today, your wisdom. I'm selfishly, I'm personally excited to have these future episodes because I think there's so much wisdom and knowledge from experience that's going to come out. But for episode 2, thank you. Great episode. And we'll catch you in the next one.
Thank you. See you then.